I go bed, man. I go bed at all, man. No. You know, matlakala fela. It's bad. Dumelang, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Renee Like I also go by the name Reni. If you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you get notified each and every single time that I post new content on my YouTube channel. With that being said, I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm just going to dig into this video. What we'll be talking about today is you already want to be a pilot and you are looking for a flight school and you want to know what kind of criteria you need to be looking into when looking for a flight school, what to look out for, what should catch your eye, and what you should consider, and all that kind of stuff, all the nitty-gritties. So I wanted this to be more of a conversation. So I'm from the gym. I'm going to make myself some lunch while we have a conversation. Got myself a plate to work with. So yeah, I'm gonna say the first step, guys, we're gonna get into a very uncomfortable topic because usually finances make people very uncomfortable, but sadly we have to talk about it and we have to get into it. Otherwise I would be lying to you guys and I wouldn't be telling you guys the good with the bad. So going into aviation, aircraft passing by, going to aviation is a very expensive industry, very expensive. So I would say if you're looking into getting to a flight school and you going to fund yourself, look into spending about close to $1 million to over $1 million, because you're going to be spending a lot of money on all the licenses that you need to acquire in order to make it to where you want to make it, which is flying for an airline at some point in time, if that's the route you want to go. So anyways, now that we've got the uncomfortable part out of the way, we are going to dig in to looking for a flight school. Guys, you will think this is difficult. I don't eat that much. Not on camera. No. Just gonna... pretty much I eat this much. Is it gonna be filling? No, but well, we'll figure it out, right? Anyways, so obviously getting into a flight school or getting a flight school, you're asking yourself, where can you find a flight school? I'll tell you where you cannot find a flight school: in CBD. Each and every single flight school needs to be where there's an airstrip or a runway, shall I say. So with that being said, target small airports. PE has one, George has one. Wait, Cape Town has another one, but I'm not sure what the name is for it or where it's based, but it's in Cape Town, obviously. With that being said, yes, but I am 100% familiar with Gauteng. So, or Gauteng. Why did I say it with an English accent? Gauteng, La Pushisha. Yes. So, go target small airports. Why I say this, it's because that's where most flight schools are. They're at small airports. So I'm just gonna speak on Gauteng because I'm very familiar with Gauteng and that's where I'm based and that's where I go to school, in Gauteng. So I'm gonna speak on something I know rather than assuming and guessing and all that kind of stuff. So in Gauteng, there are a couple small airports. You have Lanseria, you have Grand Central, you have Vanderboom, you have Rand Airport. So with that being said, there are a lot of small airports, so you can go to those airports. Why I say go to small airports is because each and every single small airport has, okay, not all of them, but the ones I mentioned, they have flight schools, and it's more than just 2, 3, 4 flight schools. They have a lot of flight schools, so that means you have a lot of options and you have a lot of flight schools to actually consider and all that kind of stuff. I like options because a lot of options means I can also start being picky. It gives you room to be selective of the things that you want, things you don't want, and stuff like that, instead of just settling because there are not a lot of options. So gotta shake it out a little bit, you know. So anyways, with that being said, you are at the airport now and you see a lot of flight schools. What are you gonna do? You're going to step into each and every single flight school. Why? Because you need options. So what are you gonna look for when you're looking into a flight school? When you go into a flight school, also read your own body language. When you step into the flight school, from the second you walk into the flight school, just pay attention to your body language. Are you more receptive towards the energy around you, or do you feel a bit protective? Like, your body language says a lot, and you guys shouldn't ignore your body, because you can read energy, your body can read energy. So when you step in there, is it a positive environment? Do you feel negativity? Do you feel inspiration? What kind of things do you feel as you walk into the room? And when you start talking to the people there and interacting with them, what kind of vibes are you getting from them? So that's something to also consider. Do not just walk in there and think, oh no, the flight school is just like that. Pay attention to your body, listen to your body. What is it feeling? What are your spider senses saying? Are they saying you should get out? Do you like this place? Do you feel some type of weird vibe, or is it positive? Do you like it? Is it encouraging and all that kind of stuff? I really don't know if I'm a photogenic eater. Clearly I'm not, because I just accidentally spat on that. I'm gonna rinse it out. Yeah. I would say the second thing is look at their certificates. They need to be certified by the CAA. CAA stands for Civil Aviation Authority. They are the only people who can give the okay for a flight school to operate as a flight school, or a flight school to keep on running. And they're the only ones who can shut down a flight school. They're the only ones who can revoke rights for a flight school to keep on educating learners and all that kind of stuff. They are in charge. They are in power of actually controlling what happens in the aviation industry. So I would say ask for their certificate, but I am not going to ask you to do that, because you will know why later on in the video, why I'm saying that. Okay, so basically your second step is you're gonna ask questions. The first question you want to ask is the pricing. How much do they charge? They usually give you a book or a pamphlet or whatever it is with a price list that tells you it's gonna cost this much for you. Basically, they break it down for you. To get your private pilot license, it's gonna cost about 48,000. To get your commercial pilot license, it's gonna cost about 67,000. To get your multi-engine rating, it's gonna cost about this much. To get your ATPL, it's gonna cost about that much. To get your, I forgot what ATPL stands for. This is a sign that I don't even have that license yet. Emphasis on yet. To get your instructor's rating, this is what you're gonna be paying for. So basically it breaks down everything, and then it has a subtotal. It should have a subtotal of, if you plan on getting all of those things and acquiring all those licenses and ratings at that one flight school, you're looking to paying about this much. However, guys, bear in mind that price that they give you, it's more of an estimate of if you get things from the get-go. If you get things right, all your exercises when you're flying the aircraft, you grasp everything quickly. All your exams, you pass them at first attempt. Honestly, you're human, you're gonna make mistakes. There's gonna be that exam that you're gonna fail. Hopefully you don't. There's going to be something you're going to struggle with in flight. You might have trouble with stalls or spiral dives or spins and all that kind of stuff. That will require an additional lesson on that so that you perfect it and you get it right. That is money as well. So that estimate is based off of if you get everything right the first time around and you don't repeat anything. And while you're looking at the pricing, also look at how much they're charging you to fly the aircraft per hour, because that matters to you when it comes to hour building. You don't want to spend a whole lot of money per hour and meanwhile you need to build hours and you required to build about 60 something hours, and you find you're spending so much money because you have to hour build. You don't want to do that. Where you can alleviate cutting costs, I would say look at the pricing when it comes to where you can alleviate cutting costs. Did I just make sense, or did I just misuse English actually? No, what I'm trying to say is where you can cut costs the most is when it comes to your hour building. So you need to know how much they're going to charge you to hire and fly that aircraft, so you can hour build per hour, how much they're charging you. So yeah, that's what you need to know. And then with that being said, well, I guess we decided to put this in the refrigerator and have it have nothing, right? Right. But there's a little tiny little one swimming in there. I'm gonna just scoop it out because why? I can. Anyways, so you also want to look at that. So now that we're done with the price listing and everything like that, we are going to go into point number 3. I think it's number 3. Number 1 was where to find your flight school. Number 2 was getting the price list. And then number 3, the next question you want to ask them is, how many aircrafts do they have? Why does this matter to you? It matters because the next question you're going to ask them is how many students that they have. You want to gauge the scale or the ratio of aircraft to student. Is there enough aircrafts to actually support or condone students flying on an often basis? Guys, flying an aircraft is all about muscle memory. You have to do it often. You don't sit there and decide you're gonna fly today and then you're gonna skip 2 weeks and fly again. It's all about consistency. So you want a school that can actually carry the students with the amount of aircrafts that they have, and the students can fly often, like each and every single day, if not each and every single day, each and every single second day of the week. They can still fly the aircraft, because you don't want to be sitting on the ground. When you're on the ground, you're not a pilot, you're just a human being with, I don't know, qualifications on the ground, I guess. So you can only be a pilot when you're flying. So you need a school that has enough aircrafts that's gonna balance out the number of students with the number of aircrafts. When you actually gauge that, I want you guys to think ahead. You know, if the school says they have 20 students and they have 6 aircrafts, you need to calculate this. If all of these students are to fly during the day, so let's say from 7 a.m. until let's say 5 p.m. If you calculate all these 20, do not calculate them on 6 aircrafts. Calculate them on 4 or 5 aircrafts. Why do I say this? Every month, 1 aircraft is going to go in for maintenance. So calculate that whatever aircraft that they have, minus either 1 or 2 aircrafts from being operational, and say, okay, so basically they have 4 aircrafts or 5 aircrafts, and they have 20 students. Can these 5 aircrafts balance out 20 students? So if it's 20 students and it's 5 aircrafts, that means, okay, 5, 10, 15, 20. That means 4 students on each aircraft. And if you add yourself, you become the number 21. So you can actually still fly, because if they all fly 2 hours each, you will get your chance to fly. So always gauge that and minus an aircraft or 2, because every month, aircrafts are like cars, guys. They go in for service. So per month, you have that 1 aircraft that's due for service. The next thing you want to consider is the ratio of student to instructors. Ask them how many instructors they have. Why do I say this? It is important that they have enough instructors to accommodate the students that are in the school. Why? Because you want all the attention you can get. You do not want an instructor that has 10 students and they can barely remember your progress. Like your last flight, they need to go and read the debrief and be like, oh yes, she's the one that can't do this, and then come back to you and go out and fly with you. You don't want that. You want an instructor who has at least 4 students maximum, so you can get as much attention from your instructor as possible. Why? Because it's important to know your progress. And when your instructor has got less students, they are up to date with each and every single student's progress without having to go read about your progress, so they can remember, oh, Rainy is bad at landings. No, your instructor usually picks up on things. They're able to say, you're not on the ball today. They're able to pick up on you as a person, that you seem distracted today while you're flying, or you're not on top of the ball as you usually are, or you're slacking, or you're improving, or all of these kind of things. You want an instructor that's going to be aware of you the whole entire time. You don't want one that has got about 10 students and they can barely even keep track of your progress. To them, it's just all about hours, and they're just obtaining hours from you. And mind you, you don't even know if you're actually making progress going forward or backwards. So that's what you also need to find out. How many instructors do they have? That is very important. So they have a whole lot less instructors. No matter how good the instructor may be, you want all the attention you can get, and you want an instructor that is basically gonna stay on top of you. In my case, my instructor who taught me how to fly, he had 3 students. I was one of the 3. He was always on top of the ball. He stayed on top of me. Rainy, you still have that exam you need to do. You need to finish that exam. You need to get that exam so we can sign you off, so you can test for your private pilot license. Rainy, you're slacking when it comes to your SOPs. Rainy, you're improving. Rainy, he was on top of the ball. He knew my progress as I was growing. He could even tell me, you know what, I see you growing into a great pilot, a very safe pilot. Your airmanship is very great. He would give me compliments. You want an instructor who's gonna, look at everything and basically go over you with a fine comb, so that they can create you and mold you into being a great pilot. Okay, that was point number 4, I think. Point number 5, ask to see the facilities. Do not be shy. Ask to see the aircrafts and the facilities. Why do you want to see that? It's because there's something called ground school. Ground school is where you get taught, like it's basically you sit down, an instructor sits down with you and they teach you the subject. You go through that. So you want to know the facilities that they have, the rooms where they conduct their ground school. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Do you feel like it's a very, it's a room that condones learning and all that kind of stuff? You definitely want to check that out and see if you like it or you do not like it, if it vibes with you, if you feel it promotes and condones your learning experience, then go for it. And then the other thing, you ask to see the aircrafts. I know you're new and you're looking into a flight school, you don't know what to look for. Oh, before I get to the aircrafts, you need to ask them what type of aircraft that they have. The type matters because yes, it is nice if they have one type of aircraft, but however, if you get to a flight school that has more than one type of aircraft, say they've got Cessnas, they've got Pipers, they've got multi-engine aircrafts and all that kind of stuff, they are going to broaden your horizon even more, because you know what? On your logbook, you're gonna have different kinds of aircrafts that you're flying. So meaning, if you ever migrate from one flight school into another, you're not gonna be hindered because you're already flying different types of aircrafts. However, if they only have one, that is also fine. I would just suggest go for a school that has more than one type of aircraft. That way you're not limited and subdued to one aircraft. In my case, my initial flight school, they only had Cessnas. So I only knew how to fly Cessnas. When I changed flight school, they only had Pipers. So I had to do a familiarization so I can be able to operate a Piper. So now I'm in a good place where I know how to fly Cessnas and Pipers. So go for a flight school that has a variety of different types of aircrafts. That way you can also broaden yourself as a pilot and be aware on how to fly the Sling, how to fly the Piper, how to fly the the Cessna and all that kind of stuff. And then now looking into the aircrafts. That's enough tomato. I don't want much tomato, and tomato is not that good for me, so I think this is a lot of tomato. But anyways, that's it. So when you're looking into the aircraft, what you want to look at is, obviously you've never been around a training aircraft and stuff like that. It's your first time at a flight school, you don't know what to look at. But trust me, the reason why I say go to each and every single flight school, you'll start noticing differences between how flight schools treat their aircrafts and how they maintain their aircrafts. How do you see that? We were taught in my initial flight school that when you leave the cockpit, you need a sterile cockpit. You need a very clean cockpit. You ensure that when you're done operating your flight, you clean out the area. You take the papers that you had there and you put them in your bag. You fill out your flight folio. You ensure that you fasten the seat belts onto the seat and you tighten it and you leave it as neat as possible. You put the seat in a very neat way and you leave the aircraft the way it should be. Okay, not the way it should be, but as clean as you possibly can, so that the next person who comes to fly the aircraft, they come into a clean aircraft, which is a very nice thing to actually instill and teach in people. And then so when you're looking at these aircrafts, look at that. And then we used to have a maintenance man who used to wash our aircrafts and everything. So you also look at how they treat their aircrafts on the outside and the inside. So when you're looking at the aircrafts, you're looking at also things like that. Because when you're looking at things like that, you're learning what are they instilling in their students. Because if their last student left the aircraft looking upside down, the seat belts are all the way around, you have to look for the other one, and it's not clean, the floor is dirty and all that kind of stuff, then you realize that they actually do not care much for their aircrafts. Otherwise, if they did, they would have instilled in their students that you leave the aircraft and the cockpit as clean as possible, so that when the next person comes in, they find a clean aircraft and they do the same, they leave it clean. So that's what you're also looking into. And obviously you start looking, as you go from flight school to flight school, you start seeing that some flight schools have the newer aircrafts and they're good conditioned aircrafts, and the other flight schools have ready aircrafts and all that kind of stuff. So you're slowly looking into that as well. If you ever happen to bump into a student, which you should if it's a flight school, because how are they flight schooling and you don't even bump into one student? So where are the students? No one's doing ground school, no one is coming from a flight or going to fly that you bump into and stuff like that. You usually bump into a bit of traffic of students either going to fly or in ground school or back from a flight and other kind of stuff. If you bump into the student, it's a perfect time to interact with the student. Chances are, if you're going to go to that school, it's a nice way to make a friend. Trust me, in aviation, you will want to have a friend. You need to have friends because it's a tough industry and you need those people who are going to push you and, say, keep on going. Rennie, say it, don't spray it. Did I just spray it again? I think I just did. I'm not sure. So that's what you want to do. So once you bump into that student, ask them about the school. So do you like the school here? Do you like the facilities? Do you whatever? Sure, some of them will tell a lie or two, but that is where you need to read a person's body language. And obviously, before you talk to them, study them in their natural habitat. Do they seem like they're happy where they are? Do they seem frustrated? But you need to be careful with that, because they might be frustrated because they're about to write an exam, or they're about to fly, or it's about to be their test flight, or they just simply stressed about something that they have to do. But however, just study a few students and see, do they seem like they're pleased with where they are, or are they just here because, well, what can they say? They've invested their money in the school. Okay, now that we've covered all of that, when it comes to now you've been to all the schools, you know what you like, what you don't like, the kind of vibe that you got, the kind of vibes that you didn't like, that you loved. You know how many instructors that they have, how many students that they have, and obviously ask them about progress reports as well. When your students leave the school, where do they go? Can they tell you a story that, oh, we've had 3 students who got jobs here and here, or, oh, as soon as our students are done with their instructors rating, we hire them ourselves so that they can instruct the students that are coming into the school. You need to know what happens to the students. Do they care about the students, or are the students just a way to make money? You need a school that's going to care about where you're going after you're done studying, because last thing you want to do is to be in a school that's only there to just take your money, because chances are they're not even going to care about what kind of pilot you're going to be at the end of the day. But those that invest in you as a person, they care about you. They will call you in and call you out for things that you do that are wrong. You left the cockpit messy the one day. You're actually starting to slack with your flying, what's happening, or your exams. You're slowing down with the exams. You need to keep on writing exams. You're left with this much exams. You need to push through. You need those kind of flight schools that are going to care about the kind of pilot that they're actually producing, instead of care about the amount of money that they're making each time they get a student that flies, each time they get a student that goes through ground school and all that kind of stuff. Those are the important points and factors. I'm just going to get the chicken out. The reason why I say do not bother asking about if the flight school is certified is because people are fraudulent. When these fly-by-night flight schools, if they want to con you, they will con you. They will go and, I won't say duplicate, that's not the perfect word. They will go and forge certificates from the CAA that they are actually operational, they're allowed to work, and they're allowed to teach students, they're allowed to operate as a flight school and all that kind of stuff. That people can actually forge and create. So what you do is you have all the flight schools that you want to consider, and you want to basically try, like, start whooping everything out and end up with one flight school that you're gonna go to. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the CAA. You're gonna go to CAA with the list of schools that you probably are considering going to, and you're going to, I don't know where you can inquire the CAA, but I'm pretty much sure there's a reception section where you can go and ask them about what you want to inquire about, and then they can tell you where to go for your inquiries and everything like that. You can go straight to the CAA, the people who actually give out the certificates for these flight schools to operate, the people who can choose that they are going to take away those privileges and rights for that flight school to operate. You're going to the people who actually can shut down a flight school or can give a flight school the go ahead to operate. You're going to those people to find out if the flight schools that you went to and you like, if they're legit or not. What better place to go to than them? With that being said, I am done with my lunch, and I'm just gonna go right ahead and dig in, and I hope that you guys loved this video and you found it very informative. If you did, guys, honestly, give this video a thumbs up. If you have more questions, don't be afraid to leave a comment down below. And what else did I want to say? Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the bell notification for each and every single time that I post new content on my video. And I am so glad that you guys tuned in and watched this video, and I am going to dig in right now and wish you well and wish you a happy Sunday. Yeah, more like it. Oh, actually, let's not forget, be kind, love and light.
Like the legend